Painting a Code RR for first time. Should I use a thinned sealer or just do a regular tri-coat? It depends. I mean, it depends. If you want to do a tri-coat, you could do that. If you want to use a tinted sealer, you could use a tinted sealer. I mean, it really, there's many ways to do the job. So it's really up to you. I would just do a regular tri-coat and finish it off like that. What is the best primer to use after sanding the car down to metal? I was going to use a high build primer. Well, if you're using, well, if you have a little bit of metal exposed, parts here and there, you can just go over it with a 2K filler primer. But if you have a lot of metal exposed, I would definitely use an epoxy primer. Okay, so just get a good epoxy primer. There's a bunch of different brands you can use, and just epoxy it. Let that set up and dry for about 2 hours. After that, you can directly spray a 2K filler primer on top of that and block that out and paint it. So you don't have to sand epoxy if you're going to be spraying a 2K filler primer on top of it that same day. Okay. Over primer, or do I have to scrub that panel back to metal? Yeah, you could absolutely use body filler over primer. Just make sure the primer is sanded, 80 grit, 150 grit. I prefer 80 grit this way, because sometimes when you're doing body work, right, you're going to be priming. Sometimes people use primer as a guide coat. I do that. Okay, instead of using, if you have 1K guide coat, you want to use a flat black or whatever, you can do that. Never use gloss black. Use a flat black for guide coat. Or you can just use primer. Sometimes you'll have some primer laying around. You could just hit it with primer and then block it out. Then you can see your high, you'll be able to see your low spots. Your high spots will be shaved down, right? It'll be body filler if you're sanding over body filler. But yeah, you can, when you're working body work, you can prime. As long as it's sanded, you can put body filler on top of it. So you discovered some low areas. Just make sure that you scuff all those low areas with 80 grit, give or take. So your body filler sticks to it, has something to stick to, right? Blow it out, all that. Grit on bare metal that a good primer will fill in. Well, you could get, when you're down to metal, you can spray over 150 grit. You can spray over 80 grit. It really doesn't make much of a difference because metal, you can only scratch it up so much. So I'm comfortable priming over 80 to 150 grit. You could even get down to 180 grit if you want, but then put a good epoxy primer over that, followed by a nice 2K filler primer. Any tips figuring out how trim panels come off different vehicles, things like pickup truck plastic bed rails? I would just YouTube. Sometimes if you don't know, try and YouTube it. Your model vehicle or trim removal or whatever, because sometimes you're going to be busting clips and all that. It happens. Sometimes you can't figure it out. You don't know. You got to look for it. See if somebody made a video on it. Or if you could find some manufacturer information on it, on how to remove the panels. But a lot of panels are basically clipped on. A lot of times they're hidden screws, especially where you grab with the door panels, right? So try to look out for hidden screws, little plastic inserts that come out that have a screw in it, things like that. Yeah, there's got to be a way. And if they put it together, there's got to be a way to take it out. Would polyester primer be good to use over the large metal panel? You could do that if you wanted to. You could go over metal with polyester. You absolutely could. I don't like polyester primer. It's just too thick for me. You're definitely going to need a 2.0 tip size to spray that, definitely. And be sure to clean your gun immediately after you're done, because once that stuff cakes up in your gun, good luck. Good luck cleaning it, because you might get so frustrated you just want to throw it out. And that's the number one cause of failure in automotive paint guns are people not taking care of it. Like my dad said, you know, my dad always said this: you clean your guns, you take care of your guns, they'll last a long time, a long time. You don't take care of your guns, you use it a few times, even if it's a high-end gun, you could really screw it up by not cleaning it every time you paint. So just be careful. Don't have a lot of experience. Any tips on how to get started? Yes, absolutely. Go to radspaintformula.com. We'll show you how to open up your own body shop, how to make money with Autobody. Everything A to Z with Autobody, will show you how to do it. Check out radspaintformula.com. I posted it in the link over here. The replay of this video will have it. You can also check out learnautobodyandpaint.com. We've been helping people for 10 years now learn Autobody online, customize their own projects, restore their classics, open up their own body shops, and so much more. But this is a brand new training that I'm doing right now. You're going to absolutely want to watch this. It's a 5-part video series called the Rads Paint Formula. So check it out at radspaintformula.com. Free 5-day video training series. You're going to love it. And an invitation to check out VIP as well if you want to check that out. So at the moment, there's nothing really on the other side when you put your information in, but within the next 2 days, give or take, there will be, everything's there. I just got to kind of get in the back end and kind of organize a few things, and you guys will have the content. So once you are registered at radspaintformula.com, I can send you an email to be like, yo, check out video number 1. It's out. And I think you'll like it. Hopefully that helps. It says, is it true they told me if I paint my car one panel at a time, there will be a slight color variation? If you're using a stock color, specifically non-metallic, you're not really going to have an issue. But if you're using a stock color, as long as your paint is mixed well, okay, and you're using the same can of paint. So let's say you got a gallon of base coat, clear coat, okay, and you mixed up your gallon really well, and you sprayed pieces of your car at a time. As long as you're using the same gallon, even though it's metallic, but the main thing is you have to make sure it's mixed really well, okay, and then you're storing it. You're going to be fine. You're not going to really notice it. But I would recommend not to really screw with it if you're going to be picky. It's better off to just paint the whole thing at once, especially with metallics. But if you're doing a solid color, any kind of solid red, black, blue, whatever solid, you're not going to have an issue at all. Like, you're going to be 100% fine. But with metallics, you're not really going to have an issue, but you might see a slight difference. You might. There's a chance that you might. But as long as your paint, like I said, is mixed, like say you got a quart of base coat, I would literally mix the whole thing to where it's ready to paint 1-to-1 with reducer. So if you had a quart of base coat, you would have a quart of reducer, give or take, mix it all up. Maybe you would only use a pint for a panel, but then your paint is all mixed up. It's the same exact mixture, same color. So when you go to spray the other panel, you use the same exact paint. You're going to be fine. You're going to be pretty damn good. I would do it, and you wouldn't notice it, so that's the main thing, because if you have paint that, a can of paint, and you didn't mix the original batch well, and you had that caking of metallic on the floor of that quart, right? And you didn't really mix it well. And then the second batch you mix and you paint your panel next to it, you're going to get more metallic in it, because now you're picking up the caked up metallic that was at the bottom of the can, and you're mixing it in, and you're getting more metallic now in your second panel or whatever. You guys get what I'm saying? So it's just that if you're mixing your paint really well from the get-go, and you're using that same paint to paint the next panel, hardly going to tell the difference. It's going to be like a 98% match. Hardly going to be able to tell. But any type of candy, custom pearl, if you're adding pearl on top of it, if you're adding flake on top of in your clear coat or a tri-coat, then it's going to become harder. Then it's recommended to paint the whole damn thing if you're doing anything custom. Clear coat doesn't matter. Clear coat is clear coat. So you can clear coat on top, panels uh, with no issue. Solid colors, no issue. Okay. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Tony here from learnautobodyandpaint.com, and I will be back next week. Smash the like button. Have a great one, and I'll see you later, guys. Peace out.